RC Underground Radio.
Yes, I realize I look like an idiot with this mustache, and I'm okay with it.
The ultimate podcast that covers everything RC.
You don't need to cut anything either. You can just call this the raw, uncut episode. We can leave it at that.
The raw. Yeah.
Are you drinking dollar store soda again? Quit spending your money on RC stuff. You can buy some name brand soda.
RC Underground Radio is your backstage pass to the RC industry. With insiders that are shaping the future of the hobby. The future of the hobby.
When we bring this guest on, I guarantee people are going to go, are you kidding me? He wrote a song for you.
I did.
We're going to have to end this soon, huh?
Yeah, no shit. And we're going to have to edit this.
So, here are your hosts, Dave Brinkman and Ryan Ratzloff.
And you mentioned it early on in the show. Life happens, right?
Yeah.
It can be burnout. Two, it can be, my kids are at an age now that I got to focus on their activities. There's all kinds of things, right? There's all kinds of things that come.
Finances, man. You know, the life part of it. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
point.
not easy to just fly. I don't know, 5 states away. You know,
right.
and have your comforts of a local race, meaning your own pit table that you bring, your power. You know,
Right,
I mean, there's a lot of things like that they do make it hard, and I get it. The areas across the country, they're trying to put on their own big race to accommodate people in another fashion, which I'm all about. I really am. I'm all about local racing too, because if you don't support locals, you don't have nationals. You don't
Exactly.
You know, I really truly am that guy that's like, I don't care. I've been in New Mexico, and I've driven home 17 hours straight. My wife thought I was literally off my rocker. I've slept like 2 hours, and I drove an hour and a half north to Santa Rosa to race up there because I personally felt the local scene was dying, you know, and I'm like, no, I gotta be up there. You know, I just have a love for the hobby, you know, and I was the same way on the dirt bikes. I mean, I want to race, I'm going to race, you know, and I'm lucky. I got a wife that's like, dude, whatever, like have fun, you know, take care of the business around the house. I got 2 kids, you know, my daughter graduates high school this year. My son's a junior in college up in the Reno area.
Wow.
So, I mean, I get it. I get life. And, you know, I'm just lucky, man, that I can run around and do that stuff and make things work. But you got to have it. You know, you got to have all aspects, all areas got to have their racing. It just kind of watered down some of the nationals' clout, for a lack of words.
So you have a unique perspective because as a competitor, you have raced in a really high level type of environment, lack of a better term, of promotion and creating a buzz, right?
Yeah.
Is there any of that RC could do better from what you've experienced in the motocross, or is it kind of the same?
Well, that's actually a good question. Really good question. I'm not really sure how like the RC communities can promote better, and I'll just stick to the drag racing stuff. Really, you know, I think everybody does a fair job, but here's something that from motorcycles, and transferring over to this, your exact question, my example would be promoting parties or promoter groups, whatever we want to say. I think just like in motocross, and I had conversations years past with all Northern California local promoters in the dirt bike world. Communication, they communicate, but at the same time, it's like they just want their race to happen, and then races are doubled up or scheduled on the same weekend, and it takes away from attendance, and it puts racers or people in a position where they have to choose, which is fine, and I get it and I respect it, but I think as far as making something better, put your egos aside and do what's best for the racers, because then you'll have larger turnouts. Your event may or may not grow based on the good time people had, or whether it was a good facility or a bad facility. I think everybody does step up to the plate and put on the best event they can, because you got to remember, like, other than Great Lakes, there's no true purpose-built RC dragway.
That seems to be the only one, right?
I mean, well, yeah. Don Garlett's down in Florida there, he has his museum, and I think the RC DRL, which, that's prep track stuff or whatever, but they have like a purpose-built facility.
Okay.
I believe there's one other. It's just more or less a constant, but like Okeechobee, Florida,
okay,
has another like true dedicated facility, but it's not like with to my knowledge, some of these places, they're not like trees. Just, it's not like the straight line race or whatever up there at Great Lakes. It's not a full dedicated place like that. They're just fortunate enough to have their area or their properties or whatever. I mean, Don Garlett's track or whatever, I've never been, and I don't want to speak out of line or anything, but I believe that's the only other one that I truly know about that's like a full dedicated facility.
Sure. So take us through an event, because now you just said a lot of them don't have a tree system. Just try to give us a visual. So you're showing up to a track. It can be a local event or a national event, but just kind of take us through the day, like drivers meetings and, just the whole thing. Like, how does it lay out? If I was going to my first RC drag race, what should I expect?
So, I mean, let's just use like a localish race. You drive for an hour or two or whatever to get to this event, and you're all jazzed up and you're ready to go. You got your table and your generator, and so you set up your pit spot or whatever, and then obviously, the day will start with getting yourself all set up and start charging your batteries and prepping your tires, whether it's cleaning them for that morning, and then, wandering around and, hey, where do I register? Where do I find this or that? All the complete new person questions. Everybody's really helpful, which is awesome. I've never truly ran into any form of RC racing where there isn't at least 1 to 10 people that'll be like, hey, lost puppy, come here, we're going to help you. So, you get there and you set up, and then you'll have open practice, right? And then, they'll announce, hey, driver signups. So you'll go to the little registration table, or, now some places, they'll have, directions, signage, etc. And you go over there and sign up and pick your classes and do all that jazz, and then run some more practicing, and then it's drivers meeting, and they'll go over the rules and tell you you can't cross center line, you can't touch the walls, red light, you're out, basically first one to the finish is the winner, right? Without any infractions. So boom, your driver's meeting's done. Back over to the pits. Give the car a once over. If you should give your car a once over, check for any loose screws, nuts, bolts, etc. Get your tires all cleaned up. Get them, check your most events will have the heats posted, if you will, what your races are, what your brackets are. So they'll get that all up, check where you're at, and then get back over to the table, and you'll, like I said, charge battery up, heat your tires, and start applying your tire sauce. Realistically, maybe 10 minutes or something, which is, it's not like they call out, race 1 is going to go at 5 o'clock. Race 2 is going at 5:02. That was something like in the motocross stuff. I'll just use Loretta Lynn's as an example. You could literally set your clock to when the gate was going to drop and we would take off or something, and at these events, you're just kind of paying attention to your environment, and if you don't know, ask, hey, where am I at or whatever, right? And then get your heat and figure out where you're at, and then 5-10 minutes before, get your car together and get your tire sauce on, and you got to go up to the tech tables, and they typically they'll just check the weight of the vehicle and the battery voltage.
Okay.
And then, hey, I'm third pair down the track. So you're standing there after tech, body all on, battery charged, car turned on, give the steering a quick little turn, the throttle a blip, and set it down. And, most places, well, so there used to always be burnouts required, but now it's a little lackadaisical, and it's up to each promoter, whatever they want to do. So, you either do a quick little burnout on the ground and set it down and wait for that light to turn green and hammer the throttle. And, if you've done your homework and you're bench racing, like we said earlier, you should go straight and you should be just fine, and then.
So a question I had is, since you said it's like Street Outlaws, are there any other series where they actually use the flashlight and it's boom, just hit the light and chases a race and all that?
Yeah, there actually is. So there's a race that happens, like it's a pretty big race, or a bigger race, a Toys for Tots race in Southern California, end of the year, and Chris that promotes that race or whatever, he's flashlight start, man, and somebody's sitting at the finish line with a phone, or they'll have a GoPro set up straight across the finish line, and it's a bang light, and
that's cool. That's
cool. So it's really it's up to how the promoter wants to put on their event, So there's like the true Street Outlaw style, and then there's I'll say like the bigger races or whatever. Now they're like, let's call them the no prep kings, so you're on a tree and you're on a timing system. And, I enjoy both, to be dead honest with you. I mean, I went just this last weekend, I was at a local race or whatever, and supporting my club up here. And there was, man, it was just kind of an off weekend, but I think there was only maybe 10 of us that showed up, And
you're gonna have those. You're gonna have those races.
100%, right? So just as an example, it was like we had. Gentleman's name's RJ, and he runs our program up here or whatever. And he's taking it over. One of the other promoters that really fired it off, and back in the old rear motor days, etc. He's just moved on, and it's all good, right? So RJ has the tree system set up, and there's 10 of us, and it's like, well, there's 4 guys in outlaw and 6 guys that want to race bracket. You know, what do you guys think? And I'm like, I don't care. I'll race bracket.
Sure.
You know, so you know, raced bracket racing and had a ball, man. Ran it on the timing system, and I usually don't, you know. And then, well, I take that back. That was about 3 weeks ago that went down, right? So then this past weekend we had a race, and we had, I think there was 10 or 12 of us in outlaw, and maybe another. No, there was only like 3 in bracket. So it kind of you know, the tables flopped, right?
Sure,
more outlaw guys showed up or whatever. And
tell me a little bit about the differences again for people who are the first time here.
Sure.
So between outlaw and bracket, what is that?
So outlaw cars are basically your full mod class cars. You know, the fastest of the fast.
All the bells and whistles.
All the bells and whistles, and you know, go as fast as you can. I mean, be the best you can be all you can be, go as fast as you can, right? And bracket racing is really like true NHRA stuff, you know. You go dial in a bracket. I'm gonna run 2-0, you know, and who knows, the guy next to you, he might have a faster car or a slower car, and he dials in a 2.5 or a 1.5 second run, you know. And then you just watch your lights, doink, 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 down the tree they go, and boom, take off and run, and that's your bracket racing. As long as you don't break out / go faster than the time you called out,
right?
You may or may not win, depending on, you know, how close the other person was to their bracket.
Sure. So it's kind of like Pinks. Remember that old show, Pinks?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Which, you know, I'm just I'm an old motorsports fan. I'm an old gearhead, you know.
Right,
right. I remember that show 100%.
Yeah. Well, so you said you're 50. To me, you're just a kid, because I'm
right on.
You're still a kid.
I'm definitely a kid at heart.
Yeah,
you know,
right? Are we all?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're all traveling, playing with toy cars, but you can't beat it, you know. And you mentioned earlier too. You meet some of the coolest people, and some of your best friends are, you know, from RC. It's just the way it is. You know, you've got a common thing that you're both interested in. It's only logical that you're gonna make some of your best friends doing your hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's so true. You know, whether for me personally, whether it's been from the motocross stuff to the BMX stuff, traveling all over with my kids doing that, and you know, and like I said, always the RC involvement stuff. But you know, as of the last 3 years, you know, is when I've really traveled a lot, and man, yeah, I've honestly met some of the greatest people in my life, you know, and lifelong friends. Like we could agree to disagree, you know,
sure.
but the bottom line is, man, you know, I've really met some really, really good people, you know, from all over, you know, and I mean, being on the show with you, you know, and I think it's pretty cool that, you know, if I ever make it up there to the straight line race or to the dedicated track and just ring you up and say, hey, you know, and actually, you know, meet you in person and, you know, have the opportunity to just have some fun and open other doors, or, you know, create better relationships and friendships, whatever you want to say. It just, I think that's the coolest thing on earth, man. You know, and it's all from racing. Like,
yeah,
that's just how it is, you know, for me.
Yeah, we always say as soon as you meet somebody, you know, you're just instantly RC family. That's just the way it is, you know. You got each other's back, and if you ever need anything, you reach out, you know. And what's the next step in this hobby? It's racing for big money. The local racing is seen as good. It seems to be gaining popularity. It's on a good chassis foundation, doing all that, you know, using Traxxas. But take us outside the box. Where would Steve take this? Where would Steve Slaney take this?
Man, honestly, it's been said, you know, just I mean, whether it's through other groups or not, but we have a couple of groups that, you know, they do the the broadcasting, if you will, and they fly all over the country promoting this stuff, and it's really blown it up per se, right? But I'll use an example. So our group up here in Northern California, myself and a few other friends, it started off as a joke, the Red Light Mafia, and it was because we were all at a race or something locally, and you red lit, you know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
a couple of us make some jokes, and we started this. Well, then, it just kind of grew, honestly, and now we're associated as the Red Light Mafia, no matter what. And we could,
That's hilarious.
There could be one week where we all want to kill each other, to be honest with you. But where I'm going with it is, we did a race in conjunction with the Good Guys car shows in Pleasanton, and we just got the word 2 days ago that we're going to do it again in August at their big West Coast Nationals car show thing or whatever, right? So you're talking legit Good Guys car show, using them as the example and our group's association and new relationship, if you will, with that group, right? They're already a nationally recognized group. RC stuff is recognized, but when you truly run these cars in front of some real gearheads and at a show like that, where you're opening the eyes of the general public that have no clue what this side of the hobby is all about. I mean, we had some bad runs, and honestly, it was pretty unbelievable, the crowd that was standing around the RC race, oohing and awing, whether it was a good run or just some ballistic passes, like, wow, and opening their eyes to it. So with that being said, I would and will do my best to promote this part of the hobby, to, I don't know, say something that is some little sidebar discovery show type deal, I mean, we don't see the the street outlaws, no prep kings, what I think I've been watching it on YouTube as an example to see what's going on with this season, right? Because I'm just a fan, you know what I mean?
Right.
But they haven't aired it yet or whatever. Now would it ever happen with RC? I don't know. I'm sure, off-road is, as an example. On-road has been around forever and a day. I don't know exactly what kind of media coverages they would get, but
think of it though. Think of it. So we did a similar thing almost 30 years ago with on-road pan cars, oval.
Yeah.
We basically brought it to the people. We went to different, we were affiliated with a car show. And I'll tell you, from a racer standpoint, the coolest thing ever. Like, it's
Absolutely.
one thing to race with your friends and all this stuff, but to race, sometimes we'd have, hundreds of people standing around watching these races, and they would come back to future car shows because we were there. So it's great for the car show people because everything was tangible, right?
Yep.
People came back to the next car show when they would maybe just come to one car show. They would come back to multiple car shows because part of it was they wanted to see the RC racing. You make it free.
Yep.
The goal is to get as many people around the racetrack as you can. Now, where you guys have it, you can talk about on-road or off-road or all that stuff, but you're just a quarter mile in scale. Plus, you need room for the pits and all that, right? But
we need a good shutdown, know.
So like when
you're
we
talking
were involved,
about 400 feet.
Okay.
Would be ideal.
Like a tenth of an acre is like what you need, just tenth of an acre square.
Yeah.
And that was our thing was, we kind of push the limits because the one thing that's valuable to car show guys is space, right? They want to get as many cars in there because that's where they're making their money. But boy, when you jump outside the box like that, some of the things that can happen is you'll probably have no problem getting sponsors to sponsor the event. And it won't just be RC sponsors giving you product, right? That we're also accustomed to. You'll get, you could, I won't name any names, but you could get some actual car part companies, wink, wink, that would get involved, because it's not just you guys racing on the track. It's the people that are going to be standing around watching that are all, like you said, are all gearheads and motor people, right? So to be able to bring in marketing partners that are outside of the RC hobby, 110%. I'll guarantee you it'll happen. I guarantee you. Maybe not the first one, maybe not the second one, but once you've got media and you've got a bunch of, video and stuff, you're in. That's going to work. That's probably
I really hope so.
Yeah.
So me, I just pitted over, well, like by the starting line, but I set up, my area, my pit was right in the corner, right? And I'm like, this isn't me being a fathead or boasting or anything.
Mm-hmm.
My plain and simple goal, and I told all the boys around here and everybody that was involved, I'm pitting right here, and I took some of my bodies, just the bodies, and I just set them on a table as just a visual for people to walk up and go, hey, what is that? Whoa, you got Gary Selzy's Oakley car from whatever years past. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, what is that supposed to be? Well, that's Scotty Cannon's freaking, paint job of a car. So I did something like that just to attract attention, not to myself, but to the hobby. Mm-hmm. And you nailed it, with what you guys did. I talk and I could have fun at an insurance seminar if I wanted to, you know what I mean? But I was just bombarded all day long and having a ball answering these questions. I mean, from people that are drag racers themselves, that had their cars, their drag cars parked right next to us. I mean, Good Guys did a really awesome thing, and they put the drag racing, and then they were like, hey, if you got a drag car, we would like you to park over in this area next to the RC drags. And so it was really formatted cool, and they'd walk over and they're like, how fast you guys going? Well, I don't know. I mean, so-and-so, he just ran a 1.6 at 88 miles an hour. Oh, so-and-so ran a 1.58. We didn't have any crazy national record times, but I mean, mm-hmm. to pull 90 miles an hour, a couple of the guys did in front of these people that have never seen it, blown away. And then just the Good Guys group as an example for us and what we are doing, and we're going to blast it all over Facebook, etc. We just got to get these details worked out. We literally got the phone call 2 days ago saying, hey, we want you guys back. And that's awesome. And it is free to go watch. And I mean, you're for the RC drag stuff, just because it's part of the car show, right? And then there's things like we are trying to do, and we're trying to do them again. You come to our race, you enter our race. Well, you're not paying for your car show parking, you're not paying for your car show ticket. It's part of your entry. So if you do go out early, or if there's a good enough break, wander around. I mean, there's everything there. There's food, there's just amazing vehicles, there's all kinds of other vendors. I mean, half of us, Saturday rained out. It was horrible. It rained out. We kept going and trying. And finally it was like, throw your hands in the air. We couldn't beat Mother Nature. Right. We all ended up racing in a portable sim racing trailer at Laguna Seca and just having a ball. But those things are around you, and you did touch on it also. I mean, I know some people, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm really hoping we can make it happen. And, Summit's out of Reno, Summit Racing, right? And I know some people there, and I can't say whether things are going to happen or not, but it's a goal,
Sure,
and it's that outside the box thinking, like you had mentioned, that I think we can attract other sponsors and other supporting groups, if you will, and make it grow. And that's really, to me, an ultimate goal.
I'll tell you, Steve, you gave me goosebumps, right? I see it.
There could be opportunity if everything worked out and conversations were proper and whatever the case is. I mean, I estimate and project manage in a scaffold business for a living. Okay. So I understand conversations and details and contracts, et cetera, that need to be worked out and how to get something going, right? Start a project. But they don't just sell, I don't know, Edelbrock parts and whatever else, right? There's a million different facets to their business, and there's toy cars and there's legit, I'm sure they probably already have an RC product in their lineup somewhere. I've never searched their website. I know they got slot cars and all kinds of stuff, right? But
well, think of it,
could it grow?
Company like that, or other companies, a company like that, or other companies. What's one of the things you always see on their Facebook or you see on their website when they do some kind of a community service, right? When they do something out different. I mean, everybody knows you're going to go to their website and there's going to be car parts and there's going to be this and, there's going to be that. But all of a sudden they supported this. That's going to make people put on the brakes and go, whoa, I want to read about this. This looks, what? RC drag racing? And they were involved. They're going to read the story. They're going to appreciate when they see that it's such a fellowship type of atmosphere between these racers. And like you said, you're talking to the public and showing them the bodies. When you see it's that kind of a community thing, how can you not be impressed with the company that supported that? Like, that's just a no-brainer, right?
Right.
I mean, if I rolled up on their website or their Facebook page and all of a sudden they had pictures from this event, I'd be like, all right, take my wallet. Let me go to their website. I got to buy something because they supported my hobby. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another thing I'm going to add is you are a good salesman, and we're a small fish in a big pond of what this could potentially be, but I'm putting it on video right here. RC Underground Radio absolutely wants to be involved. So awesome. We are a partner. You and I will talk, or whoever your committee, however we can do. We got Austin Wentworth who lives out that way. We might be able to do an RC Radio Roadshow. Who knows? But let's talk. Let's come up with some ideas. But we're in, buddy. We're in.
Right on.
However
I appreciate it.
However we can, helping with awards or whatever. We'll talk about that because I'm super juiced up about that idea. I think you're gonna knock it out of the park with that.
Like blown away and really thanks, man.
Yeah, that's what this show is about. Yeah, this is what the show was launched for, is like to support the hobby. We have merch, like I'm sure you heard of Carpies. They do all the wraps and all that kind of stuff.
The wrap on my RC sprint car is done by them, and it was modeled after. So I'm not used to saying this, but my little daughter here, I shouldn't say little. She's little in stature, but she's 18 years old, and her boyfriend Dylan Bloomfield races sprint cars, full size, right?
Cool.
Yeah, drives 360s and 410s, and so their family 360 car. I took a picture and I'm like, send it over to Carpies, and I'm like, I want to wrap like this, and I'll be gosh darn if it didn't come back looking identical as far as the paint schemes and stuff. And then obviously I got to throw on, my RC sponsors and stuff.
Sure.
The GFRP and all that jazz. I mean, but yeah, killer company. There's no doubt.
Sure. So they're the presenting sponsor of our show. And so we worked out a deal, and they did all our merch, and we sell the merch. But every dollar that we get back in royalties, we put into the hobby. We sponsor young racers. We've done some track, improvements. We've told tracks like, hey, if you need a ramp built so somebody with a disability could get up on the driver's stand, we're your guys. Let us know about it.
How cool is that?
Yeah, we've been able to promote and help with awards or whatever we can. We just sell hoodies and t-shirts and hats and all that stuff at the Carpies website. And
no, I've actually seen them.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, it's cool stuff. I got to get one, and
that'd be cool.
And we'll do because it goes to the greater cause, and
Absolutely.
I think that
Every
stuff's
penny.
cool, man.
Yeah, every penny. So here's okay. So we'll jump back to the show because here's I'll let you get back to things you got to do, and I'm going to go eat some pizza. But
nice.
My wife's a nutritionist, so she makes it herself. Surprisingly enough, it's really good. It's really good. So
yeah, I have a brick oven, wood fired pizza oven in the backyard, and
nice.
Yeah, I love it. I love a good pie, dude.
You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding.
I'm not perfect at it, but that's another hobby of mine. It's
a good thing with pizzas. You don't have to be perfect. Like
you don't.
Artisan pizza is like the bomb.
Yeah, exactly. I'll sit out there and I'm not gonna lie. I'll sit out there and drink me some man sodas.
Sure.
And I'll freaking put pizzas in and out of that oven all damn night long if that's what people want.
Nice. Yeah, Ryan calls it cold snacks. He likes to have cold snacks. I call them barley pops. Yeah,
right?
Everybody's got their phrase.
Papa Willie's Traction Tonic has been curing poor traction since 2016. The name says it all. If you're not popping wheelies, it's not Papa Willie's. Papa Willie's has become known across the United States on dirt oval to off-road, asphalt to concrete, carpet to hardwood, and so many other surfaces. Papa Willie's continues adding to their lineup with tonics for cold and hot weather, loose dirt to high traction, dry dirt, wet dirt, clay and abrasive surfaces, along with anti-drag bearing oil, tire cleaner, tire glue, pit accessories, and swag. You can find the complete Papa Willie's catalog at www.papawillies.net. Prepare for victory with Papa Willie's Traction Tonic.
Be sure to use promo code RCUR for 10% off your next purchase at Papa Willie's.
Folks, are you looking to have half of the enthusiasm Hunter Carey has up on the driver's stand? Or are you looking to look like me walking around the pits in my cool RC Underground Radio merch? Well, listen. I'm sorry to say that Carpies can't work miracles in those departments. But there's good news. The folks at Carpies can definitely help you become the ultimate toy car nerd. How do you ask? With their custom wraps and a killer collection of official RC branded merch. So while they can't promise to shave a 10th off your lap time, they can save you 10% on your next order with promo code RCU10 upon checkout at carpies.com. That's CARPYS.com.
So here we go.
Yeah.
So this has just been an outstanding conversation, Steve. I got one more for you. And obviously, we're going to be able to take clips from a bunch of shows and we could stitch them together and we could do a whole show on this company. You talked about how drivers support each other at the track. Every genre we talk to, people bring up GFRP.
Yeah.
So let's hear for how they support the drag racing hobby, and your perspective on GFRP.
So Dustin Malacote, obviously the owner, and like I told you beginning of the show, I met Dustin racing dirt oval out here, and Dustin originally made parts because he was into the oval racing himself, and whatever the chassis was, I I should know true history, but I don't. Sorry. But he made some part, whether it was a shock tower or something, for the platform he was running. And his business just grew from there. And supporting the hobbies, GFRP was, basically dirt oval stuff predominantly, right? And then this drag racing stuff came into play years later, and as far as supporting the hobby, I believe Dustin was one of the first ones to step in and make purpose-built, full kit RC drag cars, outlaw drag cars for this, based off the SC, short course style measurements, etc., or whatever. And support from full-on event sponsorships, title sponsors at multiple events all over, to being there with, parts for the racers. And I mean, you guys have seen it at Tulsa for the gosh darn, I'm drawing a blank on the
RC Chili Bowl.
Chili Bowl. Thank you, sir. Just the products that he has there, and yeah, it tow the trailer down and doesn't have the full shop there and everything, but he brings a gosh darn good supply of stuff. And that's happened at countless RC events. And then, for me, I guess I was like 21 or something like that. I got into the drag racing stuff, and, I'm really, like, I had Dustin stuff prior to, with the dirt oval stuff, just on and off. And actually, I ran a lot of Matt Murphy stuff when he had Murph Dog rolling and all that jazz, because it was a company out here on the West Coast or whatever, you know what I mean, until he moved back east there or whatever years ago. But I got on board with Dustin and through like mainly the drag stuff, but I mean it just rolls right over to anything, so I mean, I obviously have all this product, and I've ran his product for years and years, and then got picked up with the drag race side of stuff. And I mean, locally, basically it's, how do I say this? Well, I guess I just say it like this. This is the way I look at it. If you're a representative or you're a sponsored driver of a company, you do everything you can to help and promote locally, because it's basically like a job. That's just how I personally look at things. I'm receiving help, and I'm helping them by promoting the sport, the company, the hobby, or whatever, being a good ambassador, being a good person. So if I have parts, I can't tell you how many parts that people break something. Hey, Slaney, do you have this or that? And it's just like, boom here, and
sure.
Do everything you can to promote and support. And I think, with Dustin, obviously it's a love of the hobby, I mean, truly it's the company. It started off as a machine shop, etc., and it's Boggs Fabrication, and so they do many other things besides just RC, but that's Dustin's main focus, I believe, and what he predominantly does. And the support from that company for the community it's pretty gosh darn big, man, from parts and sponsorships of lanes to full event sponsorships, and then just helping out the racers. I think it's pretty gosh darn amazing, man.
Yeah, there's something, like I said, there's so many guests that we've had on that GFRP is involved with, and everybody says the same thing, that just Dustin and his whole crew are just stand-up guys. I'm hoping to get them on the show for next season. Pretty soon here in a couple of weeks, we're done with season 2. We'll kick off season 3 in September. So be great to have those guys on. So
Yeah, and I mean, there's many others. Matt Ottman and Voodoo Tires have came on the scene. They, they're hands down. And yeah, okay, pumping some sponsors of mine or whatever. But just speaking in general, just pure passion of hobbies. Voodoo was like crawler stuff, right? And then they started making the drag tires, and then they went to the belted drag tires. And there's many other great companies out there. There really is. Ken Lupe and DRC and Custom Works. I'm not one to bash on a company. Like, I drive for Dustin and GFRP, so obviously I'm going to be proud and represent to the best of my abilities anybody and everybody that helps me. Gary and Straight Line Spoilers and John Martin at Bad Racing, Aluminum Wheels. He's just a straight up machinist that makes cool shit. But there's many companies in the hobbies themselves that's really cool, and it's all passion, man. That's what RC truly is. Like, I don't want to say bad things, but meaning this isn't the community where you're just gonna freaking drop an idea and be a billionaire the next day.
Right.
Not in my opinion. You know what I mean? But who knows? Maybe it could happen. Maybe I'm completely wrong and ignorant. I don't know.
I think any hobby, especially our hobby, is passion of the heart, right? We're in it for more reasons than making money, or winning big money. Yeah, I would say 99% of everybody is in it for the right reasons. So, yeah, Steve, I can't thank you enough, man. You are a straight up cool dude.
Thank you.
So glad we got talking. Couldn't have picked a better guy to tell us about the history and where this RC drag racing is now. I know a lot of people are gonna want to see more. So
I hope so, man. And I'm just a small fish in the pond, like you said. I mean, there's so many guys that have greater accomplishments in this aspect of the hobby than I do, but I enjoy it. I think I got a good name out there. I want to roll with it. Things like this, I'm really appreciative of, and it just opens eyes and maybe opens other doors, So thanks, man. Thanks, and I'd love to come back on and chat more in detail if people have questions or whatever. They can hit me up on the Facebooks or the messengers or whatever, and I'll do my best to help. And if there was more time, I could go on and on about like all this stuff and my points of view with RC drag racing, but maybe another show or another time, man.
I was going to say, we'll definitely make time for that, because you have a great perspective on not just RC drag racing, but the hobby in a whole. You get it, buddy. You get it. And you got a lot of great ideas that could not only help RC drag racing, but help all forms. So just glad, super humbled that you made time to come on the show, and we appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the RC Underground Radio Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your fellow racers about the show. Tune in again next week for more RC content.